but it's not going to be the same.
Sorry, I
Oh,
missed the recording.
oh.
Go to your website.
So go and definitely go and check out that information in the news tab. It's really important. Um, so I also want to say you must go and share digital catalog links on your PDF, PWS, which is at the very bottom. You can share those, and then it actually has clickable links on your website. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go onto your website, go down to the very bottom and click on the digital catalog and share that with your customers, even open it yourself and have a look and how it works. Continuing to evaluate, Scentsy are continuing to evaluate the warmer of the quarter and scent of the month in regards to marketing material and brochures and things like that, but just keep an eye on the news tab. There is one gigantic, what I've just said, that's just a snippet of everything. So please read it all. And then the product status list has been updated on Saturday. If no one has seen it yet, go and have a look at that as well. So news tab, and as Patty said last week, and I always do as well, go in and filter it so that it's the most recent one first, so that you don't get have to scroll through loads of old news. And over to Patty in the studio.
Maybe we need some like music. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm going to find out.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry about the no record. Although I will say I know SSDs that have done that, so I'm okay. And I think Faith used to always forget, and other people forget, so I'm allowed one. Don't let me do it again. Um, all right. So I am really, really excited. I don't want to waste anybody's time or Paula's time because it's Paula's birthday as well. And I thought, oh my God, she's coming to share her birthday with the Scentsy people. I met Paula at a Venus networking group. It was a women's business networking group in Christchurch. And we used to meet, was it every week? I can't even remember if it was every week or every other week. I think it was every week or twice a month. Maybe it was twice a month. And we had a fabulous group of people. We would meet at Chillingsworth in Christchurch. And I was trying to come up with some amazing words. As you know, I did post about her in the Juice group. And she is fair, she is kind, she knows her stuff, and she has been through loss. Like we connected on some levels as well. She lost her husband, I lost Earl. And she's a pet mama, so there's that. She does like Scentsy, so there's that. And her specialty lies in helping women in their business and getting past their obstacles and blockages and all the things they're kind of doing to self-sabotage themselves. And so I reached out because I got an email from her and I was like, oh my God, Region 3 needs this email. And so I reached out and she said yes. So she's doing this out of the kindness of her heart. I will have links and everything to go to her website and to follow her on social media. And if you're interested in one of her programs, I will post that all in the group afterwards in case you want to hit her up for some self growth there. So Paula, I'm going to hand it over to you, ma'am. And if you want to say anything else about yourself, feel free. The floor is yours. Mm. Oh, can't hear you.
Oh,
There you are.
sorry.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yep.
Good. It's my birthday where you are, but it was actually yesterday in New Zealand and
Oh,
Australia. So
you
get an
did it
extra
twice.
celebration.
That's
Thanks.
right.
Yeah. Um, I have a small dog and I'm currently preparing to put my house on the market, and I have moved furniture in my office today, and he is like there's a ferret or something in here. So I apologize if you hear him rustling around, but it seems to have concerned him that I've moved things. um, so yeah, thanks for having me. I have a little presentation that I'm going to share with you. Um, if I can remember how to do that on Zoom. Am I able to do that? Do you know?
You should be able to share screen, but if you can't, I can.
Ah, yes, I found it. I found it. I found it. There we go. So, as Patty said, I'm Paula. I call myself an NLP and intuitive coach. So I am trained in something called neuro-linguistic programming. Is there anyone who's linguistic programming before?
Mm.
Can you still hear me?
Yep. I'm going to read.
Zoom just told me that Zoom just put me a notification that it quit unexpectedly.
Oh,
So that's random.
nope. I still see you and I see your presentation.
Okay. Jody says she still has, I'm sorry, I have no sound for Paula. Do you have sound for me now, Jody?
I have sound, so maybe it's something on Jody. Does everybody else have sound?
Okay.
Yes.
I'll carry on. So NLP or neuro-linguistic programming is a form of coaching that's been around since coaching began, really. It's been around since the 70s, and it's actually the type of coaching made famous by Tony Robbins. So when you see and hear Tony Robbins speak on stage, a lot of what he's doing with people when he takes them through a transformation is NLP. And so I sometimes tell people I'm Tony Robbins without the shouting because I won't shout at you. So, and if you've never heard of Tony Robbins, go to YouTube and put Tony Robbins in, and you will understand what I mean about the shouting. I've also studied coaching, and I started getting interested in coaching some time ago. I've been coaching for 9 years. So around 2012, I started studying coaching. And at that stage, I was working for a large natural medicine company, actually a company based in Brisbane. So for those of you who are in Aussie, I've spent a fair amount of time over on your shores for work. And at that stage, I was national sales manager in New Zealand, and I had a team of sales reps working underneath me. And what I found was that the majority of my team responded really well to the way that I coached them in terms of selling. But I had a couple of sales reps who A, weren't performing, and B, would literally try and hide when they saw me coming because whatever I was doing was not working for them. It was making them really uncomfortable. So I was like, I need some skills to help these sales reps start to achieve their targets. And that's what led me into coaching. And to cut a long story short, I ended up quitting my job, walked away from a six-figure salary, and set up my coaching business in 2016. So I've done a lot of things in my career, and this is the thing I love the most. At the moment, I have kind of three areas of clients. I have small business owners like yourselves, and I have a contract with an EAP organization, Employee Assistance Program organization, where I go into large corporate businesses and provide trainings around well-being, leadership, and conflict resolution. I also provide one-on-one support in those organizations. And I have a contract with the Ministry of Social Development here in New Zealand, which is our welfare organization. And I run a program for them called Upgrade Your Life, and it is for single mums looking at returning to work. So building their confidence and self-esteem so they feel that they have something to offer the world, because we all do have something to offer the world. We just need to kind of find our groove. And part of what I do now has actually grown out of not only working with various clients in different situations, but actually putting together that program for the Ministry of Social Development highlighted for me some really key things that can help, particularly women, to feel confident and to really go for it in terms of achieving what they want in their life. And So a little bit more about me. I am a bit of a sunrise nut. So I live near the beach in Christchurch. So you'll quite often find me down there at sunrise with my dog. My favorite fruit is pineapple. It's like my totem. I have a Scentsy pineapple warmer, pineapple shaped warmer from a few years ago. I don't know when that was, Patty, that you got that for me, but I still love it. And one thing I really love about the pineapple is it is the symbol of Hawaii. So it means aloha. And they say, the pineapple stands tall and wears a crown. And so we can take a lot of lessons from the pineapple by standing tall and wearing our crown. As Patty said, part of my story is a story of loss. I lost my beautiful husband to cancer in 2013. And so had to learn to recreate my life really from scratch, as you do when all of your hopes and dreams are gone pretty much overnight. And, one thing that really stood out to me with my husband and walking him to the end of his life was a quote that came into my awareness around the time that he was passing away. And it was this: don't die with your music still in you. And that is a quote from a man called Wayne Dyer, who is very big in personal development. And it really struck a chord with me because I really felt that my husband Andy did die with his music still in him. He was an incredibly talented man, but he had very low self-esteem. And he did not believe that he had the ability to impact people. Yet, in the last days of his life, I was literally having to put a sign on the door to stop people from coming. And these people were mostly people he had met in his life. He worked as a project manager and a builder, and they wanted to come and tell him the impact that he had had on them. Now, if he had heard that before he had a terminal diagnosis, maybe he would have felt the courage and the confidence to actually impact more people with his methods and the ways that he did things. And so what I had was very driven by when I started my coaching business and still am today is that quote, don't die with your music still in you. And it's a way that I honor his memory because every day I get to help people not die with their music still in them. So I get to support people to step into what it is that they're here to do, step into the confidence and self-belief they need to share their music with the world, because ultimately we all have something to share. We all do. And so it's about, once you realize what it is you want to share, having that part of you that is just not going to walk away until you achieve it, and that has the courage and the confidence to keep doing that. And so the thing with life is there's always these curveballs. And, whilst I wish my husband was still here pretty much every day, and I'm sure that Patty wishes Earl was still here as well, you have a choice when you lose someone. You can make peace with the fact that the portrait or the masterpiece that you were creating with your lives together will never be finished. And whilst that's really sad, it also means that you have the opportunity to start with a blank canvas and to decide what it is that you want to do with your remaining days. And for me, just having a 56th birthday, I feel so blessed, to have lost a husband when he was 45 years old, to live to 56 and still be really healthy and happy is such a huge blessing. So, one of the big things that I encourage people to consider, because sometimes people come to see me because things aren't going how they want them to go, is that there's no such thing as failure. There's only learning ways how things don't work. And you always have a chance to put a blank canvas on the easel and start again or try a different way. Because Failure is only a bad thing because humans decided that it was. And ultimately, many, many, many of our most successful people in the world have failed multiple times before they've succeeded. For example, Thomas Edison, the man that invented the light bulb, had something like 930 something failed attempts at making a light bulb before he got it right. And so if he'd decided the first or the second time it didn't work, that he was a failure, we'd all be sitting in the dark right now, wouldn't we? So failure in itself is really about not trying. If you don't try, you can't succeed. You also can't fail. I imagine some of you have these goals, dreams, intentions, plans, visions, a to-do list, a bucket list, some future memories that you want to create with your family. And I imagine some of that is what drives you to be part of Scentsy, to be able to make some of those things a reality. And, the reality is that stepping into a business is the biggest personal growth and development journey you'll ever go on. And no one tells you that. They tell you, oh, you'll have to work out the tax stuff, and that might be hard. They'll tell you, oh, you'll have to track your inventory and make sure you've got enough stock and fill your orders, and that might be hard. But no one ever says to you, actually, the personal growth and development you will need to do to achieve your goals will be the hardest part of your business, because it is. And I'm sure that some of you have already experienced that challenge. And so why is it so hard? There's a few reasons. And a lot of it comes back to the way that your brain works. So an estimated 95% of our behaviors are subconscious or unconscious. It means they happen without us even thinking about it. And they're habitual, which means the same things happen over and over and over again. Your brain receives up to 11 million bits of information per second, but your conscious mind, which is your thinking brain, can only handle 40 to 50 bits of information per second and can only track between 5 and 9 bits of information per second. Yet your unconscious mind tracks millions of bits of data every second and does it effortlessly. So we think this thinking brain, the one that's running the voice track in our head, oh, you need to do this next, and oh, you forgot about that, and you can't do that. We think that's the bit that we need to pay attention to. Actually, it's the part that's breathing you right now. It's the part that once you get your driver's license, somehow you no longer have to think about driving a car. You just get in and drive it. That's the bit that we need to pay attention to, because it is the filtration system of what comes into your awareness. It's the filtration system of the 5 to 9 bits of information your thinking brain can hold on to. And so how do you think your brain filters that information down? Anyone want to have a guess?
Yeah.
Pop it in the chat if you want to have a guess.
I'm trying to.
Anyone want to have a guess about how your brain does that filtering? It filters through the lens of your beliefs. And I'm sure you have all experienced this. It filters based on what you tell it to look for. It filters based on what you focus on. And so a really easy example.
If you look for problems,
Sorry?
you're going to find problems.
Exactly, because you've told your brain to look for problems.
Like when you get
a really good example is you go out and buy a new car. You go out and buy a blue Toyota and you think, this is such a cool car. I haven't seen any other blue Toyotas like this anywhere. The minute you leave the car yard, you see them everywhere because you've told your brain to look for them. Suddenly, every other car is the same as your car. And as Patty said, if you ask your brain to look for the negatives, that's what it looks for. But by the same token, if you ask it to look for the positives, it will do that as well. And that is how things like gratitude work, because the more we start to notice the good stuff, the more our brain starts to filter for the good stuff. And so we actually don't see the world as things are. There is no reality, because my reality is based on how I'm filtering information. Your reality is based on how you're filtering information. So those two realities cannot be the same. We see the world as we are. We see the world through the filters that we're using to look at the world through. You also have up to 64,000 thoughts a day, and on an average, 72.4% of them are negative. And 90% of them are the same thoughts that you had yesterday. Your brain just recycles them. So let's talk about the kind of filters that I'm really good at working with and that I'm sure some of you have. So my next slide, we call these automatic negative thoughts, but essentially these are filters as well. I'm not worthy. I just feel ugly. There's no point in trying. Nothing goes my way. I'm so stupid. This always happens to me. I'm just wasting my life. This is all my fault. I'm a bad person. I'm not enough. Nobody really likes me. Anyone heard 1 or 5 of those running through their heads on a daily basis? Yeah, so these are what you start to filter by. So if you start to think nobody likes you, your brain is going to show you all of the evidence that people don't like you. It'll show you the person in the supermarket who's rude to you. It won't show you the 5 people that really like you. You simply can't see it because your brain's not showing it to you. And so sometimes we call these self-limiting beliefs or limiting beliefs. And the really scary thing about them is that they are formed before the age of 7. So before the age of 7, your brain is just downloading the environment. So it's downloading the way that people respond to you as a child. And it starts to try and make meaning from that immature state about what's actually going on. And all of that meaning is made in relation to you. Now, this doesn't matter whether you have a traumatic childhood or an idyllic childhood, your brain will still do this. And so sometimes we think, oh, I didn't have anything bad go on in my childhood, so maybe it doesn't affect me. Think again. Actually, it probably still has affected you. And it can be simple things like you, as a 5-year-old, draw a beautiful picture that you're really proud of, and you take it to show an adult in your life, and they're on the phone or they're too busy doing something else. And they're just kind of like, oh, yeah. The message your brain receives is, I'm not good at art, or I'm not creative. And then that's what you start to tell yourself. And that's what you start to filter by. You start to notice that other kids' art looks better than yours. You start to then not try and create things anymore because you think you're not creative. And as an adult, you probably never pick up the coloring pens or the drawing pad, and you never make art because you decided before the age of 7 that you weren't creative. And so how does this affect us as an adult trying to run a business? Overthinking, self-doubt, and procrastination would be the key ones that come up. I recently spent a day interviewing my clients and asking them the kinds of things that were showing up for them. And here's what they said. I procrastinate and overthink everything. I doubt myself constantly. I never feel good enough. I'm tired of battling with myself every day. I'm scared I'll fail, or worse, I'll be rejected. I've lost my motivation. I feel drained, distracted, and stuck. No matter what I do, it never feels like enough. I'm afraid of things not working out, so I don't even start. I'm always waiting for something to go wrong. I keep waiting for someone to find out I'm not actually good at this. I have imposter syndrome, and I constantly feel like everyone else is doing a better job. Who can put their hands up for one or more of them? Yeah. Yeah. Does it surprise you that lots of people feel this way? Lots of people feel this way. Pretty much everyone I meet has one of these going on. I used to have quite a few of them going on. Luckily, they don't affect me anymore because I've worked on them. And you can too. It's you don't have to live with this. This isn't like a predictor of your success. It's a belief that you created before the age of 7. And that 7-year-old is part of the filter system in your brain. So it's showing you all of the evidence for all of the things that you are afraid to believe might be true about yourself because they're really bad. And what does that mean? It means that you don't take action on the really important stuff. It means that you talk yourself out of taking a chance on some of the things that you'd really like to do. It means you let yourself off the hook when you know you shouldn't, because if you just started making those calls or checking in with your clients, actually, you would make sales. And you're not alone in that. Pretty much every salesperson I've ever met has one of these going on. The 5 most common limiting beliefs: I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, I'm not worthy, I'm not intelligent enough, and I'm not loved, or I don't love myself. A big one that I've seen working with salespeople is people don't like me, because if we think that people don't like us, it kind of gives us an out for connecting with people. And your brain has this sneaky stuff going on where it's kind of keeping you stuck. You've got this fear that what will people think? What will people think if I go out there and talk about Scentsy like I really want to? What will they think of me? Do I know what I'm talking about? Well, they'll just think I'm some crazy person selling smelly stuff. We doubt the possibility. Well, it's all right for them. They did it when, or they've got this, or they're like that. And we have this self-doubt, and a lot of that can be based on times in the past where things didn't work out. We have this overwhelm where it's really hard for us to just start taking action because we're trying to think too far ahead, where we're like, this is what I want, but how am I going to get there? How's this going to go? What will happen when I get to this part? Or we're just simply in survival mode where all we can do is focus on what could possibly go wrong, because basically we feel like that's all that happens is things go wrong. So what do we do about that? Because right about now, if I were you listening to me, I'd be thinking, gee, this is a really cheery conversation. I feel worse and worse about myself every second. Well, the good news is that essentially what NLP is it's recoding neural pathways in your brain. And essentially, it's like if you had an app on your phone that wasn't working, you're not just going to keep trying to open it, are you? No, you're going to delete that app and you're going to reinstall it so that it works better. And we do exactly the same with a belief. We identify the neural pathway, the pathway in your brain that's not working, and we delete it, and then we reinstall something else. And it sounds like brain surgery, but actually, we just do that from talking. Another way to think about it is like when you go to the park, and in the park, there's this path that goes around the outside of the park, and it goes past the flowers and the trees, and where all the birds are singing and having fun, and the flowers at this time of the year in New Zealand coming out, all the daffodils coming out. But there's this track that goes right across the park that's kind of worn into the grass by people taking a shortcut because it's faster. And so whilst it's faster, you don't get to enjoy the beautiful flowers and the trees and hear the birds. And so these beliefs are like that pathway cut through the grass. It's a shortcut, but you miss out on the beauty of life every time you use that shortcut. So what are we going to do about it? Because quite frankly, something has to change if you really want to start working towards the goals that you've set for yourself. And ultimately, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. And so right now, there's an invitation for you over the next few slides to think about whether you're ready to step into your growth, because it's not going to feel like eating ice cream, because growth is uncomfortable. But I'm pretty sure I can share some things with you in the next few minutes that might make it a little bit easier. And the first part of that is understanding how the comfort zone works, because we've all heard that saying that, we have to actually move outside our comfort zone to get what we want to get in life. But what actually happens when we do that? So I really like this deeper description of what happens when you move outside your comfort zone. And in my experience, it's exactly right. So we decide we're going to step outside the comfort zone and we step straight into the fear zone. And if we don't know that that's what's going to happen, we're like, oh shit, this feels awful. And 99% of the time, we'll go back into the comfort zone. If we know that outside the comfort zone, there's the fear zone, maybe we can tolerate it for a bit longer. And I'm going to stop my share because I want to show you a little way of working with this. So I want you just to take your hands and just put them together like that. So just put them together. And I want you to notice which thumb is on the top. Okay. And then I want you to take your hands apart and put them back together, but put the other thumb on the top. How does that feel? Go right down to the bottom there. It feels weird, doesn't it? It feels uncomfortable. It feels a little bit crunchy. It's just kind of not right. And that is what it feels like to be outside of your comfort zone. And the next time you do that, I want you to remind yourself that actually it's meant to feel like that. It's meant to feel like that. The comfort zone is how we always do it. When we do it something differently, that's when it starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's meant to. It's meant to feel uncomfortable. If you're prepared to stay in that fear zone and not jump back into your comfort zone, you will very quickly move into the learning zone. So that's where you start to actually learn new skills. You start to find ways to deal with the challenge of being in the comfort zone. And if you hang around, your comfort zone actions.
We lost her. Oh.
Have you got me back?
Oh, yep, we got you back.
Sorry, I don't know why Zoom doesn't like it when I share. It gets a bit upset with me. And so let's hope it doesn't kick me out again. All right. So if we stay in that learning zone, we eventually end up in the growth zone. And that's where you start to really make some real impact on your goals, is in that growth zone. And so ultimately, the comfort zone should be the place we go to relax and recover before we step into the fear zone again. It's not somewhere we should live. Now, I bet you could think about at least 3 things that would move your business forward that are outside your comfort zone right in this minute. Yeah. And so I would suggest that you write at least 1 or 2 things down and have a play with this. Can you do one of those things that's outside your comfort zone in your business, and be prepared to stay in the fear zone long enough to start learning? Because, there's only there's only data and feedback ultimately out there, we can make it personal. Okay, I stepped outside my comfort zone and it didn't work out so well. Well, what data and what feedback did you receive that might make it easier the next time, rather than going, oh, well, that was terrible, I'm never doing it again? It's all just data and feedback. And, ultimately, the only person who can do this is you. Patty can't do this for you. I can't do this for you. Everything is feedback. Do we have results, or do we have reasons why we stayed in our comfort zone? And there's a little cork here. And the reason there's a cork is because there's a little story that goes with the slide, and it's this little cork, and he was in a bottle of champagne. Someone got proposed to. They opened champagne on New Brighton Pier, which, if you live in Christchurch, is a long pier that goes out into the sea. Pop! He landed in the Pacific Ocean, which comes into New Brighton Beach, and he's like, yay, I'm in the Pacific Ocean. I'm going to go to Fiji. That's where I'm headed. I've always wanted to go to Fiji. So he lies in the waves at the mercy of the tide, just really hoping that he's going to end up in Fiji. And what happens is the tide goes in and it goes out and it goes in and it goes out, and he finds himself in the mud in the Ferrymead estuary, stinky and stuck. And instead of going, oh, what am I going to do to get out of here? He's just like, it's not my fault. The tide did it to me. I wanted to go to Fiji, but I couldn't because the tide wouldn't let me. And so that little cork is at effect. He's at the effect of everything that happens to him. And so if he really wanted to go to Fiji, he needed to get himself onto the super yacht, which has its own GPS. It has its own foils and sails and fuel and solar and everything it needs to get to Fiji. And it's going to make sure that it has all the resources it needs, because it's quite a long journey from New Brighton Pier to Fiji. Ultimately, that's what life is like. We can be at the effect of the stuff that happens to us, or we can be at cause or at choice and take all of the knowledge that we have and actually apply it out there in the world, knowing that everything is feedback. If something goes not how I expect, what have I learned from that? How can I take 100% responsibility for the results that I have right now and move forward from here, rather than listening to that voice in my head that's telling me, well, that happened because you're not good enough. Well, that happened because people don't like you. Yeah, we can call bullshit on that. So, a little trick, because ultimately what happens is when we get stuck, we start to run these sad stories. And you'll all have a version of one of these questions. Why does this always happen to me? Why am I so crap at this? Why don't I get the big breaks? I know that for me, my sad story that used to happen when things went wrong was, why do I always have to do everything by myself? And as soon as you turn that around, ultimately there's a heap of help out there that you just weren't filtering for. And so there's a little trick that you can do to help your brain. Whenever you notice yourself going into a bit of a sob story or getting stuck with one of these negative thoughts that's going around in your head, you can ask a question that has 2 little words in it, and those words are even more. Because when we ask our brain a question, our brain's job is to look for the answer, right? And so if you ask your brain, why does this always happen to me? It'll show you the show reel of the 52 reasons why these things always happen to you. If you ask yourself, why am I so crap at this? Your brain will show you all of the reasons why you're so crap at that. But if you ask your brain a question with even more in it, your brain assumes this is already working for you. How can this be even more of an adventure for me? Your brain assumes it's an adventure and it starts looking for more reasons why it's an adventure. How can I learn even more from this situation? Your brain is assuming you're already learning, so it's going to show you more things to learn. How can I gain even more clarity from this experience? Your brain is assuming you're already getting clarity, so it shows you more reasons to find clarity. Simple, really simple, and works like you wouldn't believe. Something you can take away and try. Positive affirmations are worth using. There's lots of research that actually shows they help us to feel more positive, and as a consequence, we take more positive actions. And, you know, I've talked to you about neural pathways in your brain for those beliefs that you've formed since the age of 7. So repeating positive affirmations actually changes some of those neural pathways. And then you start to feel more positive and change behavior towards positive action. So thinking about a positive affirmation that you really feel, that you can really get into, can be a really good idea to start your journey of changing those beliefs. And what I am currently doing is creating a program for women specifically who are really struggling with their self-doubt and imposter syndrome and want some support. It's called the Self-Belief Code. We're going to be starting towards the end of October. The program consists of group sessions where we get together in a group, and I will take you through in a lot more detail than I have tonight how some of this stuff works in your brain and what are some simple things that you can do to start changing that narrative for yourself. Alongside that, you'll also have 3 one-on-one sessions with me where we'll actually change your specific neural pathways so that they work better for you. And you'll also have access to a little series of videos to help recalibrate your body to your new belief, because we can change it in our brain and think differently, but we also need to make sure our nervous system and our body is ready to come on the journey with us, because sometimes that can keep us a bit stuck. So I want to leave you with, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending, because ultimately that's truth. And I'd love for you to check out my Instagram or follow me on Facebook. And thank you so much for listening. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has. So I feel like I've just talked at you for however long.
Come on, people, don't be shy. Did anything hit home for you during this whole time she was talking? I know some. Oh, Karina, where are you? I can't unmute you. Where are you?
There you go. I've unmuted myself. I was just going to say, I find it hard. I've got my phone on a stand, so it's hard to type messages and that. But I don't feel like you were talking at us at all. I found that really helpful. So thank you, especially this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite astounding sometimes when you learn just simple things, how much of a difference they can make, eh?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be really interested to know what you as a group or individuals within the group find the most scary about your job, your Scentsy job. What's the thing that makes you go, oh?
Probably judgment.
Yeah, so worrying about what people will think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably judgment, you know, which I try not to worry about that too much anymore. I used to a lot more than I do now.
Judgment in which way though? Like, is there a specific?
As in like, oh, here she goes again. Oh, that sort of thing,
People do
like,
that with their kids to me all the time, and they know I don't care. So just
yeah.
think of
But
me.
like when you're posting a lot of stuff on Facebook or, I used to care about it a lot more, but after, the last couple of years and what's happened through there, my girlfriend said to me, the day everything changed for you was when you actually stopped caring what people think. But every now and again, that judgment thing is still there going, oh, they're judging you. And it's like, no, they're
So,
not. And who cares if they are anyway?
so the question to ask yourself is, what is it that I believe about myself that makes me afraid of judgment?
I guess then that you're actually not as maybe good enough as you think you are, maybe.
So that's where the
Maybe.
work needs to be around
Yeah.
believing that you're good enough.
Yeah.
Because when you take a step back and you think about the amount of time you judge other people, how much of your time do you spend judging other people?
Yeah, I don't really.
So what makes you think that people spend their time judging you?
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? We're our own at worst critic, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
it's working on the how do I become more solid in my belief that I'm worthy and good enough and that my work has impact,
Mm.
regardless of what people think, is where the
Yep.
work is.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Paula, we have a couple things in the comments. Do you
yeah.
want me to read them or are you reading them?
Yeah.
Kelly
Oh,
Kelly
sorry,
Gold,
Kelly. I didn't mean to make you cry.
she lost her son last year, and so her
Oh,
reemerging into Scentsy again after a very tough year.
oh,
Um,
you poor thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Miss
Mm.
Janice.
Like there's lots of reasons after loss, and I'm sure you've talked to Patty about it, why we do kind of want to hide a little bit. And part of it's that, like for me, I felt like my whole chest was ripped open that everyone could see my heart inside there. I felt very exposed initially, but it does over time, you do feel more like being out in the world. Um, and I think it's also the inane questions that people ask you that, like, you know, did you find that, Patty, that people would ask you the most inane questions about your loss?
Um, I'm like I always say I'm as blunt as a cotton ball and as transparent as saran wrap. So I was from the moment he died, I went live in the car after I was leaving the hospital, like after I saw his dead body. So I was always really open about it. And like one of the things was, I think, well, yours was a long thing where Kelly's was sudden, but it's, I think everybody thought I wasn't dealing with grief, but I don't care what people think. But like I had I think three or four Scentsy parties the week he died, and I did them. And then the day of his funeral, I had one, and I said, I gotta go. I have a Scentsy party, and everybody just looked at me, and I'm like, well, my cat's still gotta eat. I can cry when the party's
Yeah.
over. Like I got through that part of my life. I learned very well how to compartmentalize. So I'm like, well, now is
Mm.
this, and I can focus on somebody else for 3 hours and have a really good time. They knew it was happening. If I wanted to cancel, I could have, but I was like, no, no, I need to escape for 3 hours and just focus on you. And then I can go back in my car and cry on the way home.
I
So
did quite a lot of hiding, Kelly. So don't don't feel like that's not the right thing. I did a lot of hiding
I
and
think,
running away to the other side of the world and stuff like that, where no one could ask me questions that about my loss because they didn't know.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. But over time that changed,
and
and I'm
she's
sure it
doing
will for
amazing.
you.
She's coming out little bits by little bits, and she's doing an amazing job, and she's got a great support system. And a bunch of these people here are her little bodyguards when they go to events now. And she's got me and kind of out of the orbit of, her normal life. But we love you, Kelly.
Now I saw someone put something about no one turning up to their Zoom. Yeah. Afraid that no one would turn up to your Zoom. Do you know
That was
what?
me. I
Has it
used to do,
happened?
yeah, I used to do Zooms all the time with my team, and it stuck in my mind that Melissa Gratz said once that she doesn't care whether one person turns up or 100 people turn up, that she'd turn up every Monday, and if there was even just one person on, she was happy with that. Um, but I think I just lost confidence because every time I was doing it, less and less people came on, and then there were a couple of times where there was no one there. So I probably looked at it more so like maybe I wasn't adding value, whereas the truth probably was everyone was just busy at that time. But I sort
Yeah.
of took it personally, and then I was like, well, I don't want to go and do it again because it's a little bit soul destroying sitting there waiting for people to jump on. So it's something that I've stopped doing, and I know that it's something that I need to start doing again. So that was the one thing that I wrote down.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if it were me, I would still be going ahead with my plan and recording the Zoom and sending the recording out. And no one needs to know that you were the only one there. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. I never let on.
Yeah. And it's also like, what is it about that I believe about myself that makes me think that I have no value because no one turns up to my Zoom?
And
Yeah.
honestly, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, what was that, Patty?
When I was coming up with this idea since January, and we finally launched it last month, it was this thing of, will anybody show up? Well, I don't know. Does any other leaders want to participate? Well, I don't know. Well, we're going to give it a try. And I think when we do in-person get-togethers with our team, I could have one show up or I could have 13 show up. Or I'd have nobody show up, but I made sure I had work there to do anyway, because then I would talk to the waitresses or the whatever people that were there. So it is that hard thing of being, well, don't they want what I have to offer, or don't I add value, like what Jana said, or but then you realize everybody's priorities are very different, and so your priority and your show up.
I think also there's something to be said for actually interviewing them about what they want and what they need and why they're not there, because it's all data, it's all feedback.
True.
You can make the assumption that you don't add value, but actually it might just be that the time that you've scheduled it for doesn't work for anyone. It could just be that they've got this and they don't have a problem today, or it could be that they're looking for something completely different from what you're providing. And so taking a step back from the emotion of, oh my God, no one showed up, and going, okay, how do I find out what they really want, by asking them, might give you renewed vigor for creating a Zoom that is what they've asked for.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you so much.
It's okay.
I
All right.
just
Well,
want to quickly
Patty,
say, if anybody has to leave, you can. I'm like, this has gone longer, but if anybody wants to stay, you can as well. I've been in the shops, then the car. Oh, Robin's been listening to in the shops, then the car, and now at home.
is there anyone who has anything they'd like me to talk to, or a question they'd like to ask, or something they'd like help with? And if not, I will leave you to it.
Janice's got to go to work.
Cool.
All right.
Good.
Paula, thank you so much for your time. We so appreciate you. And I did want to have somebody from Australia, New Zealand, because I'm trying to keep it that way if possible.
Yeah.
I think it's something that a lot of people could use your services or your tutelage or coaching or just somebody that might understand that isn't in the Scentsy world either. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to have a neutral that they can just confide in kind of person. So
Yeah. That can say that you say the real stuff, what you really think to me.
Yeah.
People always tell me what they really think, and I like that. I
Good.
enjoy that.
Yeah.
and that says
Yeah.
a lot about you too.
Cool. All right. Well, it's been lovely to meet you and to see you. Thank you for having me, and it's good to see you too, Patty.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Oh,
my
did you
fun
want to sit? My
email.
dog's asleep under the table now, so I can't wake him up to show you. I was going to, but
Sarah and I are big animal people, and Kelly actually. And so we're like, they wanted to see pictures, so I grabbed them off of your feed.
yeah. Cool.
All right. Thank you so much.
Right.
Well, happy birthday again. Make this year
Thank you.
unforgettable.
Alrighty. See ya.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
And just gonna quickly end it by saying, if there's anybody that has started your Power 30, but maybe you fizzled out and you have to restart it, just restart it. Well, nobody's judging you. Don't compare yourself to everybody else's tick marks. I do my tick marks later. I just catch up one day and do them. I'm one of those people that I do like to stay a little covert with things, like my numbers for the incentive and stuff. I know some people compare them. I'm like, nah, I'm not telling people I'm coming. So don't get on yourself if you had to start over. The point is that you do start over. So anybody that's put the X's there and then I see more like another check mark after, that's applause worthy, and it's just doing the action. So don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. And I hope something tonight helped and clicked a little bit with you. I know we're all going to be doing this all the time. I was thinking of an episode of Big Bang Theory when one of them, I can't remember who did it to Sheldon, but they did this thing where they went like this and he couldn't do it and it drove him crazy. So I was thinking of that while she was doing that. But we do believe in you. Thank you for showing up. Again, like what Janet says, there's always that fear that no one's going to show up. So it's always a great compliment that you do show up, not just for me, but for the other leaders and for the other consultants, because you guys are a community and that's what I wanted to build. The 2nd of October, we have a special guest coming from home office. They've agreed to, I send people emails that go, would you like to stay up late with us? And so I'm working on a list, but I do have some fun things too, where we can just hang out and talk and do some fun things planned as well. So you don't have to just listen to talking. Anything else any leaders want to say before we say good night for me?
No, you're going to put Paula's contact stuff in, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it all in
I think that was a really good idea, Patty. Good job, Bob.
Thanks. I just, I could show you the email that she sent me. Maybe I'll do that. I'll take a screenshot of the email because I was like, whoa, this is good. But yeah, I've known her a long time.
No, she was good.
All right. I get to go to bed now. Yay.
Night.
Good night. Thanks, everybody. Have a great, amazing rest of the month. And don't forget to offer the opportunity because they can get that shooting star kit for free. That's one of the best times. Every time they do that promotion is when I recruit the most because it's just silly not to join and do that. So, all right. Good night, everybody. Love you guys.
Good night.
Good night. How do I end this? End.